the first step is to find a song that you want to remix. You want to acquire the acapella. Now, if you're doing a song that is super rare, you might have to create the acapella yourself. Gladly, there's a lot of services like Lala AI that you can utilize in order to do this. But for Lala, you do have to pay. And when you extract the vocal, you can choose to extract the vocal and instrumental. From there, if you hear the song and there are elements that you like that you might want to use in your remix, and you can also extract the synths, the piano, the acoustic guitar, electric guitar, voice and noise, bass, wind, strings, etc. From there, once you have everything, you can drag and drop it into Ableton, the best in the world. Go and look up end of beginning Dojo. That's what we're going to be doing. BPM. And from there, we get the key and BPM for the song. Now, this will tell us it's at 160. So an advanced technique I can teach you right now is that you can divide that by 2 to get 80 BPM. And sometimes that's a great strategy to use if the BPM of the song you are using is too high. Because what you're going to find out real quick is when both of these are on warped, which is what we want, and we go to 160 so that we are at the original timing. Essentially, this lines up, as you can see, it just shifted. And we warp there, we are going to go back to 130, but everything will stay in place, ensuring that this is warped and it's timed for how it should be. So from there, if I play this, you're going to notice that it's going to play too slow. And from there, even putting this into the algorithm of Complex Pro, which is what we want for vocals, won't save it. But instead of going to 160, we can go to 80. And the reason we can go to 80 is because 160 divided by 2 is 80. So we can half time it. This strategy works because what's going to happen is that now we're going to increase the time. As you can see, it just got, bam, it shrunk, which is good because it's going to go faster. Now we're going to warp there. For the vocals, just go Complex Pro. We're going to lower the formants. Now we got to line this up. So the easiest thing that you can do is you can find the 1 on the track, the beginning of it. For instance, that's going to be here. And all I have to do now is just double click here on this guy too. Make sure they're synced up, shift, and just pull them all the way somewhere easy for us to gauge where we're at. So I'm going to do that here. And now we have this. Okay. Now from there, we can start to grab up here. I always say stay indivisibles by 4, 8, 16 if you're making Western common music. Once you have that, you really want to start creating a beat. Now with remixes, I personally decide to not go so try hard, aka not make everything sound like super clean, etc. I just like to have fun with it. So I use a full drum loop. I really don't care too much. The next step that you want to do is you want to start creating the idea for your remix. So usually that will entail about 8 bars. And you want to make sure that sounds as good as possible. So you have to start with the bass. Now for the bass, in anything melodic, a lot of the times you're going to have to follow the original chord progression, bass progression of the original track. So if you're in luck, you can go on Google and do the same thing that we did, end of beginning MIDI, or end of beginning, or your favorite artist MIDI, and you might find something that works. If not, try going online and discovering the chord progression of your song. Once you have that, the bass, if you want to be 100% certain, should follow it so that it sounds good. So for me, I decided to go with this bass pattern because this is the bass progression of the original as well, except that it's a lot groovier. And your job is to make that 8-bar loop as good as you can. Just to give you guys some ideas, add like these nice Grace Notes synths. Since the original has a nice 80s vibe to it, I decided to do the same. Now, in the instrumental of the song, there's these nice chords that we can hear. But the problem is, you know, I tried using Lala to extract with the synth and I couldn't get him. So in your own remix, if you find something like this, you are going to have to remake or find presets that are similar. So hopefully the MIDI that you find, for instance, this is the one that I found, will have that so you can make a sound to it. Now for this sound, I decided to use the Softube Model 84, which is, I think, the best Juno 106 emulation out there. And if you don't know what the Juno 106 is, watch a video on it. The sounds it has created, that, you know, the history it has is iconic. If you want to bring the instrumental, this is where things get interesting because there are a lot of things that you can do to make the 8-bar with the instrumental work. And I want to teach you guys a couple of advanced techniques here. So the first thing is getting this instrumental to work was a pain in the butt, because check how it sounds like when we just added. No good. We have to understand our tools, and one of the tools we have is EQ, but EQ can be turned from stereo, which is just basic EQ, to mid-side EQ and left and right. Super important, because sometimes you will work with songs where the left side or the left speaker has a different material, different sounds than the right. So when we go into mid-side, MS, we can essentially EQ on the sides or the mids. Now the mids will sound like this. And the sides of this will sound like this. So this is important, because as you start to fill it up with your own stuff, the original can't just be put in like that. So with some proper mid-side EQ again, which is the guitars and the thing, and from there we can use something called track spacers so that this instrumental works with the vocal as well. Because remember, the vocal, which is a super important part of the remix, needs to pop. You know, there's a lot of remixes out there that sound very subpar, but they can sound sonically great, adding more to it and making people want to follow you a lot more, because when they hear the remix, it's more than just like dope. It's, whoa, this is like produced at a high level. So we can allow this main vocal to come in to the instrumental by going here, going to the main vocal, bringing that in. And now track spacer will duck what you allow it to using this. So we're going to focus more on the mids, and this is the amount. Now from here, we can also turn track spacer into mid-side mode. This is super advanced. Okay. From there, we'll put that around 40, but when you have your remix, you can do this to make way for your vocal. From there, don't be scared to sidechain if you must, to allow your kick to respect your kick. Okay, so just to kind of give you guys some ideas here, the original does some cool stuff like this, where that it uses to transition. So of course, you know, we can use that part of the instrumental to help us transition as well. To sell it. But the cool thing when doing remixes, sometimes you can learn from that, because that is such a dope transition. So instead of using noise, you can use an ARP that's boba, boba, boba. When we look at the song will also have a bridge, right? So in this particular song, you can take the city out of the man or something, but it's such a good build-up reward. So you want to make sure when you're doing your remix, you're looking at your vocal for opportunities of maybe they have something that also crescendos. So for example, this one. So cool. It just works so well. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. It's so nice, bro. Like, what the hell? You know, just the ARP going up, crescendoing like crazy. I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Thing that you can also do now with the vocal is you can find parts of the vocal that want to get vocal chop. That's another idea to do with remixes, where you have just that, which is part of the vocal. Again, you're just looking for things to chop out. 80s Tom Phil. Now, when it comes to arranging your song, there are multiple different ways of doing it, but I can give you a bit of my thought process with the ones that I do. Personally, me, for this one in particular, it's going to have a 16-bar intro, which you can see 1 to 17. The reason for that is I assume if anyone wants to play this out, they're going to want the vocal as fast as possible. They're going to want to mix in fast. So instantly after 16 bars, the first 8 is literally just the drums. After 8 bars, the low end comes in. We get that bars, we get the vocal playing, and straight into it after 8. Okay, another 8 bars pass, and then we have this. Vocals come back.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me.
After that, we're going to have another 8 bars here, which is the second part of the drop, which we'll call the B part of the drop. And now we have this whole gap here, which is the drop, the first drop. That is a total of, I believe, 16 bars. After 16 bars, we usually go to different sections. So here we're going to have another section, which is 8 bars. Okay. And we have a surprise drop.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it.
Okay. Now from there, I always get a lot of questions on people asking me like, oh, but you say 8 bars, but then you add this extra bar here that's out of nowhere. That extra bar is added when you feel it. You know, music can be methodical for sure. But sometimes if you make it too methodical, it just sucked the fun out of it. Essentially here, it just sounded right to have a little gap. And then go straight into
Back
this.
in Chicago, I feel it.
Okay. One thing that you should notice too is when the song drops over here, the vocal starts differently.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel
And then when it starts here,
back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me.
it starts differently. And you can see here, watch. We run into that issue. And then this "do take the man," but again, you know, the bad thing with remixes when people do them is they don't respect the vocal. It's like the vocal does this thing right here. It makes sense for the buildup because the vocal's building up, but here having this happen again makes no sense or even being said. So instead, the vocal has this. Grab it and loop it, make it work, and then. So 8 bars, again, it's the same formula. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we finally get the instrumental to create more of a climax on the second drop, B part of it. So again, first drop, 16 bars. Then we have 8 bar build, 16 bars of a drop. And now, the big break. Now, some people don't like doing this because they think it's too dramatic or it might not work, but I think it's dope. I mean, when I make music, I think more of a songwriting perspective because I'm not a DJ. I'm more of a producer, and I like these tension-filled spots. Just have the vocal repeating, creating tension. And I also wanted this important line. Again, the arrangement is just 8 bars. But I wanted this line because everyone loves this line in the song.
Just trust me, you'll be fine. Just trust me.
Just trust me, you'll be fine, right? So I really wanted that to be good. So I was like, I'm going to use it here to transition.
You'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it.
We get it. Keep it going. You get it? And then one more time. But this time, you know, the vocal and the instrumental play. So that's the finale. Keeps things interesting.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me.
So we're going to get like another 8 bars here. And then we get the outro. And the outro is, again, 8 bars. 4. Boom, boom. 8 bars. And there we go. So this gives us about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But if I decided to make the intro 32 bars or a minute and the outro a minute, then it would be like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So it's up to you how you decide to do it. At the end of the day, make the remix how you feel it's right. Usually the way you think of it, the way you feel it is usually the right the first time. Don't overthink it. Use the vocal. Pay homage to it in a good way. Again, you can do your remixes in any way or form. There is no right or wrong. But if you want to, you know, pay respect to it, I say you grab the vocal and you use it in a creative way, not just dropping it on top of a tech house beat and saying, I'm done. But, you know, creating moments with it. Have fun with it. Treat it as a song, and I think you will make something great. With that being said, I hope you guys got a lot from this video. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments, tutorial suggestions. But other than that, I hope this video was useful for you guys. And you guys take care, and you guys have a great rest of your day.